I'm really excited to do this, and as always, as everyone's been learning, I start usually my first half of the video or whatever. I'll do tips and guide you in, and so I'm going to give you lots of 2 helpful tips. They should be extremely good for you. Oh, I am excited about Doomsday. So let's get started. Basically, the 2 tips, and I just can't thank you all enough, because I'm trying to do this to teach you more. And what makes my channel unique and different is that, you know, with some other channels, they kind of teach and they are professional teachers, or they're professional concept artists. And what's different about mine is, and I kind of stress that in other videos, I'm not a professional. And so in a way though, I feel like this benefits all of you better, because I am learning things. I am picking up things every different day, and I'm learning new things. And as a result, I kind of share these ideas, concepts, and things. And that's why I think you guys improve so much, because, you know, it's kind of like as I improve, you're improving too. And it's just, that's kind of where I feel like I'm connecting with all of you more and more better. And that's just kind of my opinion on things. And it's just kind of amazing to see as the channel grows how much, you know, I've learned from, you know, the very first video you watched till now. It's just a huge change. And real quick, I just hope that really inspires all of you to improve, and that you really can do it, that you really can learn if you just take the time. And just, that's kind of what I'm getting at, is I hope it inspires you. But getting back to the 2 points. Number 1, very important is, and this is what I learned, you want to do concept sketches before you do a final thing. And you can see, with this Doomsday, I don't know what it was, I kept sketching and sketching, I was never satisfied. You can see here's the second sketch I did, and there's one, and then the eyes. And here's another sketch I did of them, and just some other sketches, random things, cheerleader over here. I was watching some football. Then like another Doomsday sketch. What else? There's another one. And so I was doing all these different sketches and concept things, and then I finally hit the jackpot. I was like, yes, yes! And it took so long because I wasn't digging the style. I wasn't liking the way the face was looking, and it bothered me all day at work today. It bothered me last time, then just clicked. And this is a major point. This is the point I'm getting at. This is a huge thing. You want to keep trying different poses, sketches, concept things until you're happy. And once you're happy with the concept, you can work on a finished thing. And this is kind of the final thing I was happy with. Kind of cartoony yet realistic, like it's going to be evil. Huge tip. I can't stress this enough. And I even did it. We got these little comment cards at work. And you could see I even did it at work today with a little pencil. Just, it was driving me nuts. What changed was it finally hit me. The head is what was bothering me. I had to make the jaw bigger, and it hit me. That would make it more menacing. And this is what you have to think of. See how small the top of the head is and about big the bottom? I started off doing a pose that was almost like a human face in terms of proportions. And that's what clicked, and bam, I was like, yes. So very important, stressing, do concept sketches. Do a ton of a character. And really important, look at other artists on here that do sketches. Psycher's one, I hope I pronounced it right. And just all the other YouTube drawing channels, there's a bunch on my list there. It will help you immensely. Don't get overwhelmed by finished drawings. A lot of times if you want to draw something and you look at a finished thing, it can be overwhelming. And you have to remember, those finished drawings, sometimes they'll have color, they'll have all the value. So I highly recommend, look at sketches, look at sketch art, get books on just sketchbooks, and I'm going to do a video on that. As much pencil and sketch things as you can see, because the more you see, the better you'll get at drawing, and then you can start to color and do all those other things. That's the first thing. So really the point is, don't get so concerned with your finished product, and I'm trying to talk fast because I want to make it too long, but don't get concerned with the finished product. A lot of times you'll draw so much detail at first and get obsessed with how it's going to look when it's finished, and you'll leave out the important parts of creating a dynamic pose, making sure everything's correct and in line. So that's a huge tip, and really big to get that, understand that. And the second thing is basically character expression and being artistic. And what I mean by that, and I'll go more in depth with the video, but basically it means think of the character, think of what you're trying to express with your drawing. And this is what makes drawing so fun and so different with every character you draw and everything you draw. For this one, you know, he's evil. He's Doomsday. He's the most evil character in the Superman universe. He kills Superman. He kills him. So you want to create an image that's dark lines, vivid lines, evil, spikes coming out. You want to do everything you can to express that emotion. And that's something very important, is character expression. So always keep that in mind. When you're doing concept sketches, always keep that in mind. For example, you know, if you're doing, say, some kind of anime girl or females or anything, or a princess, you know, you want to keep subtle lines, simple, smooth lines, maybe not as dark, not as expressive. And those are all things you think of when you're concept sketching and being artistic. So two major things, very important, is concept sketches, being sketchy, gesture, and the other thing is being artistic and character expression. Remember those two things and they will help you a lot. And remember those two things before, and this is very important, before you actually get a final finished drawing down. Hope this helps. This helped me a ton, and it's been helping me a ton, and really just hope that helps. Get that in your mind mentally, and I promise you, you will see a difference in your finished final drawings. And that's what makes drawing fun, very fun. And also when you're doing character expression and you're being expressed, remember key features. For example, Doomsday, I exaggerated the mouth. You want to maybe exaggerate features, and that's what it's about, being artistic. You know, some people can draw, they're gifted, they can draw architecturally, they can draw engineer works, they can do amazing detailed work. But they can't do the artistic side, which being artistic is pushing values, doing things, setting a mood. You know, you want to set a mood with everything you draw, you want to capture a feeling, and that's where the artistic side comes in. So experiment around. I hope this advice helps you, and really means a lot. I can't thank you all enough. And please let me know if this either is too long or it helps or it doesn't help. Please leave me in the comments, because I can't thank you guys enough. I've been getting tons of messages on my Facebook, on YouTube, Twitter, all over, of people saying you really are helping me. You really are helping me improve. Can't tell you how much it means. Can't express my thanks and gratitude. It's just mind blowing. And so I'll keep it up and thank you. And let's get started on how to draw Doomsday. Alright everyone, so let's get started how to draw Doomsday Armageddon, baby! Alright, so I'm going to start with the head shape. And you know how a lot of people draw a circle for a head? For this, I'm using a B pencil. Highly recommend you get just a standard B pencil, and I'll go into that more. It's a Statler. But you know, people start with different shapes. For doing a monster or something of this proportion, I like to just start with the outline. You know, and that's what I stress in all my other videos, is because things click with me better. When I just work with the outline when I'm doing this, it clicks a lot better than using circle shapes and things. I can't describe how much better it helps. So try different ways. But look, all I'm starting is with this simple, almost like a mountaintop shape. And, you know, this is where the top of the head is, and then come down here and just... You can make a basic shape, but see how big I'm making the mouth and the jaw section here. I'm just making general. Like I said, I'm keeping it cartoony in a way. You know, it's a little exaggerated proportions. It's a little exaggerated proportions and things, but at the same time, I'm going to make it where it looks, you know, sinister and evil and powerful. So you can see I'm just keeping a basic shape. So just get this basic shape for the head first. Kind of like that. And don't worry if it's sketchy or messy, because we'll go back, we'll erase lines. And that's something I've mentioned before, is, especially at the beginning of this video, you know, you're dealing with sketches. And so when you're dealing with sketches, don't worry about a final product. You're just getting a basic form. And then a line here. Notice when you're drawing monsters or things like the Hulk or things, notice how the trapezius muscles in the back, notice how they'll go behind the head. You know, here's the head shape, and notice how it's above rather than having a neck come down. And that's something important. And then all I'm doing is making simple shapes, marking lines, and this is where it gets simple. in the sense that you're not dealing with real complicated shapes. You're just sketching the pectoral muscles in. All I'm doing is making little lines to mark proportion, then the rest of the body. Very important, you want the body to look huge. And even with the deltoid muscles here, they'll come down. And notice just how big these muscles are. And I'm doing a simple pose. You know, a lot of people, they'll wonder, and this is the truth, with most of my drawings I'm doing very simple poses. You know, this is just a standard pose of him standing forward. You know, he's not having his hand out, or he's not in a dynamic pose. And the reason is basically because of time, and also I want you to learn basic forms and basic things before you start doing, you know, more dynamic poses and things. And so that's the big reasoning behind that. That's why I'm keeping it simple. But you can see, look at the form we got, and look how quickly we did this. And it's just like a gesture and outline. And that's what's crazy. You see how quick we did it, and all we did was follow those simple lines. So just, you know, make that line here like I did. Just notice how the deltoids kind of come out a little. This connects here, and then you can make a line where pectoral is, and that's where the rock form will be. But look how simple we did this shape, and now we're ready to kind of define things more, make things a lot better. So the eyes, make a center line about right there. See where that indentation comes in. Then the middle will be about right here. So you can make the lines if you want, or you can just go ahead and kind of follow along without the lines. I'm just going to make a line for the eyes because I really don't need the other one. But I'm going to start with this one eye. This is the best way. I kind of was experimenting with drawing it. But I'll make a little shape like this. Then I'll turn in like that. And it'll kind of come down again. It'll arching, and then it'll go back. And then for the eye, it's a very, very tiny. And this is the best way. I kind of felt like this looks so evil. A little tiny mark within there. And before we do the shading, we'll get the other one. And so the other one will sit kind of like that. Same thing, ends in there. And notice how I'm making these dark marks. Let's see how it kind of sits in there like that. And then you want to make the pupil about the same, the eye about the same level as that, so it doesn't look distorted. You don't worry about if it's 100%, but basically that's the eye fit shapes I got. I kind of liked how that turned out, and so try that out. And you know, that's why gesture and outline and just getting a sketch is so important, because once you get the sketch, you know, the rest is fun. You can really mess around with details and things. And for the nose shape, I'm just gonna make a simple line come down. Look how simple, look how small the nose is. It comes down, juts up, comes out, and then a little shape like that. See how simplified the nose is? You don't want to make the nose long. You want it to be very small, almost like when you draw the Hulk, a small nose, and that's the feature. And the reason is because, like I mentioned in character expression, the mouth, see how big the mouth is? The mouth is huge! Oh, yeah! The mouth is huge. And that just shows his rage, his teeth and everything. And that's what we're exaggerating on this figure. We're exaggerating the mouth. And this is, out of all the sketches I did, I was so happy with how this came out. And this is just my preference. I mean, this is what I love about drawing, man. There's so many ways you could draw Doomsday. I mean, seriously, you could draw him extremely realistic. You could draw him, yo, I love this. This is what I love, and this is why I took so much time getting a design for this character, because so many ways you can make him with a human face, like, you know, different value, but this is the way I like to do it. So we'll get back, but then the nose, then I'd blacken this in. And he's got little rock pieces, and the rock pieces just kind of, they don't have to be perfect, but just kind of come up. You notice how they just go up the nose, the bridge of the nose. Then you can make another one. Play around with it, because what's so fun about doing these drawings is you really have no limits. Because when I was looking at Doomsday references, so many different interpretations. Some people had the hair coming from one point, like almost like a ponytail kind of looking thing. Other people there's just so many different ways. I was shocked how many different interpretations. But as long as you capture the feel of Doomsday with the rocks and all the things coming out of his body. So I'm just forming that. And then the mouth, you want to make sure you get the mouth huge. Make sure you leave a little for the jawline. You can see all I'm doing is make a simple shape like that. And if you notice, and something I mention in all my videos, is take your time. Look how slow I'm kind of drawing. All I got is the head, and we're already like 6 minutes in. But that's what I'm saying. Get your basic forms down first. Get your pose, where things are going to go. Like I know some rocks are going. And then your drawings will look amazing. Look how slow I'm doing. And all focus on the head. And if you want, you can bounce around and do the spears. I want to get the head in first. And my reason is because if the head doesn't look good, then I won't even like the drawing. So I want to make sure the head looks good. So I feel more confident drawing the muscles and things. But then, you just do the teeth. And the teeth are like jagged spears. Some are pointed. You don't want it to look goofy, but you want it to look scary and intimidating. So don't make them like about the even size of it. Remember, they're like little rock shapes. So that's about it for the teeth. And then above the eyes here, little spears. They're more of the little rock shapes. And you can make some bigger, and that's what's fun about doing this character. Some you can make a little wider, but vary it up. You don't have to keep it all the same. Especially when you're drawing evil characters like this, you want to mix it up. You don't want things to be symmetrical where, crap, my pencil, jeez. Where like this side of the face would look exactly the same. You don't want it to be symmetrical, because that kind of makes it boring, and that just defeats the drawing. So we'll get more into it. I'm giving a big lecture on this one because I just feel like there's a lot of useful information with this one. I'm just erasing the lines. Let's work on the body more, but the hair will be coming out about this point, right over this point. And for the body, he's got all these, I'm making these little marks, so he's got all these little razor sharp looking pinnacle things, these rock forms. And look how I'm making the forms. I'm kind of doing a variation. This is where you want to use your imagination and make different shapes. Yet you want to make sure they kind of look like these rock things. And you can just see I'm just making them in. Make some skinnier. And this is, when I was doing the sketches of this, it made me feel like a kid again, because when you're a kid, you're just having fun and you're not worried about all the fine details or proportions or things. And then, you're just making a bunch of little different marks, and it really did remind me of drawing as a kid. But just make these little rock shapes, different sizes. It doesn't have to be exactly like this. I kind of gave you the basic thing. Make some bigger if you want. But I just like how he looks with the jagged shapes coming out, all the different shapes. And vary it up. Don't make it all in one form here. Now I'll make the hair come up behind this. And the hair, I'm going to make it start about right there. I've noticed some do that. And you can erase, because you don't want to have that line there. And basically make some forms coming out. Trapezius muscles here. So I'm just going to sketch the rock forms in and make it jagged. And this is where it gets fun again. Don't be afraid to experiment. Don't make all of them pointed. You can make some a little jagged, but then like have a little shape like a rock. This is where it's fun. You just design your own shapes and things. I'll make this one a little shorter. But really take your time when it comes to doing this part. Make a few that are just jutting out. You see what I mean? Make some that are just coming out, and I'll go back and erase it. Make a few where it's just like coming out. And then for the shoulders, you want to make them jutting out. I'm going to make a huge one here. So I'm just kind of stylizing, not worrying about them overlapping, because I'm going to erase those lines. But you can see what I'm doing here. I'm just making different marks. And try not to avoid any sense of pattern. As soon as you put a pattern in, it's going to look stiff and stale. So it's kind of like you got to train your mind not to have a pattern. Just doing it like, and I'm looking at the sketches I did just to see the best way. But doing it like very random in the sense, and just going with the flow. And basically, you know, you want to create something that looks terrifying though. So I'm just making little different shapes. And now that you got that, let's see how it looks on camera. But see how it's coming along? And here's the big thing. A lot of people, and this is a big lecture, I'm sorry if I'm spending too much time talking, but a lot of people, you know, they think that a good drawing has to be hard to do. And that's not necessarily true. I mean, it does take a lot of skill. It takes a lot of practice, especially depending on what you draw. But to do an awesome drawing, sometimes all you need, like I said, is just take your time, use your imagination, and look, you can see how easy this is. Oh, yeah! You can see how easy it is. I'm not doing anything mind-blowing here. I'm just doing a bunch of different patterns, different forms. I'm using very simple, basic anatomy and basic pose. And you can see how it's just coming together because of all that. And that's kind of what I'm stressing here with that. So I'm going to erase the lines in between the rocks. I'm going to skip. And so I went ahead and erased the lines. So let's put in some finishing detail and things. Let's kind of finish it up. These lines behind here, notice how thick I'm making it, where the line of the body behind the rocks. Make these lines, exaggerate them, especially where we made the pectoral lines. Make these lines extra big, and you can add your own little hatching if you want, different value, you know, different hatching, however you feel fit. I'm going to make the outline. Like I said, make the line thick to show how massive he is. That's a huge tip, especially when you're doing, you know, you want to mess around with line weight and different things. That's how you kind of capture feel of the character's bulkiness, how strong it is. And so just the lines we made, and then we'll go back and do details of like, and I'm not going to do anything special with the pectoral muscles. I'm going to leave them as simple as I can get, you know, because I don't want to spend too much time. And you know, I want the piece to be scary because of the upper. In other words, when you have a character like this, you are exaggerating one thing, and that is the rocks, that is his face. You know, you don't want to go crazy when it comes to muscles. Well, it also depends on how you want to interpret it. But all I'm doing now, see how we're kind of capturing the foreman? And then he's usually got like that belt on. Let's see it now, and then we'll go back and really work the rocks more. Make a couple lines. All I'm doing is darkening the rock things. Let's see what's going on. I'll make his little mouth kind of like a classic cartoon, that little thing in there. Make it dark. Dark as you can. And ultimately, you know, he's got the piece on here, and I'm just going to kind of free flow it. See, I'm not really concerned about it being symmetrical like I was saying before. Just make little rock shapes and little things and bring it down. It's just use your amount. That's all I'm saying. A lot of this makes me feel like a kid again because I'm kind of using my imagination, not worried about any rules and things. And then in here, you'd probably want to darken it. He's got the neck muscles. For the hair, let's get the hair in. Real simple. The hair kind of all pulls back. And you can make it where this goes back. But ultimately, you know, it'll go behind it. And just, you make it curve down and then up. Kind of give this look. I'll work more on the hair. That's about it, really. Just come back in wherever we made the little rocks, and you can spend your time on each rock if you want. You know, add a bunch of little more rocks. Like I'm gonna put a little rock there and there, and just wherever you feel fit. And very important, blacken these eyes in. That's very important. Where you just have that little tiny sliver for the eye. You see how it's just going. And of course this. I'm going to go back and darken all the areas of the character. You know, make little marks on each rock. And basically though, you know, that's the finished thing. That's all you really have to do. To get the muscles, I just add a couple little hatches here and there. Like, especially for the pectorals, I'd add shade. Like right in here, I put some shade, shadow. Just to exaggerate, like right here. Just to exaggerate a little. So you can see the muscle mass. All I'm doing is following basic little lines. Then maybe, you know, for the abdominal muscles, just add an extra layer, shading it back there. And all in here, make it dark, especially where the neck kind of connects to the head. You want to make a bunch of dark marks. That's about it now. Just finish and darken those areas. Work on shade and make the rocks your own style. And that's about it. And thanks everyone for watching. I hope you learned something. This is definitely a lot different than what I normally try to do. But it was fun. It was a fun, different thing. Thanks everyone. I appreciate it. Thank you. So basically all I did, and I'll show you a few just so you can do it too. Wherever we made the rocks, I just put shade in on certain sides. So I basically shaded, I erased points. And ultimately, you know, as long as you get the outlines of the rocks and the basic dynamics that we did, make little dots, make little hatches. You can see I finished this. I erased a lot of that. I just went back and redrew and went over things. And even though, so my point is, and this is the huge point with this drawing, even though the finished result looks very complicated, it looks complex, it looked like it'd be impossible to draw, by going through the step process that I showed you, I promise you will learn and you will get better. Because if you look at the very first 10 minutes, all I did was do my basic forms, my structures. Then I started adding value, I started messing around, I started rendering. You have to think of it as a model. Almost think of it like with video game characters. This is a very good example. You know, think of it with any video game character. They have to start with the wire frame, and then, you know, they add a little detail, and then they render it, and then they render it again. They keep going over and over. Basically, when you're drawing, you know, you kind of start with the same thing. You start with that gesture, because look, here's the sketch again, and you can see, look how it captures the likeness, yet it's so much refined. And I hope this lesson helps. Oh man, I hope it helps. I really hope it helps. Please like it if it helped you draw. Because look at the difference. This is just a sketch and you see the finished. And that's the whole point I was going with this whole lesson, is to keep sketching, keep doing gestures, get it down, and then I promise you'll get better. So please let me know if it helps. And just to do some of the rocks, all I'm doing is I'm shading, I'm picking a side to shade, and I'm just, with rocks, you know, you have a bunch of little marks, little dots, and you just want to exaggerate on each one. That way it gives the feel that they are little rock formation things. And you know, every once in a while maybe add a spike. But remember, keep the value on one side. You don't want to bounce around and do value different. But all I'm doing is making these little line shapes. And so very simple. So go ahead, send me your drawings. I'd love to see them. And thanks for watching, everyone.